friends, Kim from Stamping and Perfection. I'm here with a video today for Scrappy Tails Crafts, and I'm going to make a card that requires no stamping because I'm going to use these 3 die sets. I have this Slimline pop-up craft die, and this has been a Scrappy Tails product since I believe winter or fall 2020, and this assorted leaves metal die you've seen in a few of my videos. I love this. I think it's a craft stash essential. This just came out in January. And then I have this new one that just came out with the March release. This is called Whimsical Layering Daisies. And I've used it for a couple of different projects and I really like it. So I want to make a quick and easy background. I've got this this painting paper pad. I have no idea where I got it, but I have 2 of them, so it must have been buy one get one free. So I'm going to use a piece of this. It's like 265-pound paper, and I'm using this Color Craft Brusho. This is in Prussian blue. You saw I just squirted on the water, and then I'm shaking this out. I put 4 tiny little holes in the lid of that, and shook it on a few times, and I'm going to let the water do all the work, and I am going to do some die cutting. So I've got my die cutting all done, and I cut out a bunch of the leaves. I'm pretty fond of this winding stem. I just love this. So what I did was I pulled out I have these Altenew alcohol markers that I love, and I have them, they sit on my desk, so I use them all the time. And I just flicked in some colors at the base of each leaf, and then I did the same thing with the flowers. I cut out one set of the daisies in this light yellow color and one set in the white, but I'm coloring them pretty much both the same. So I'm using the set of yellows, and I just picked 2 or 3 of the yellows just to kind of flick out. And on the white, I decided I wanted all of it to be completely yellow. So I took a lighter yellow and just filled in the rest of it so it covered up the white. You could leave white space. One of my other design team member friends has used this a couple of times, and she's colors just in the center part and leaves the white ends, and it's gorgeous. So I did a little cheat with the drying time on this panel. I actually sent it through my laminator, just like I would if I were foiling something. I put it in a carrier sheet and sent it through my laminator, which dried it and did a pretty good job flattening it. So I'm going to make a slimline card. I have a navy card base cut at 7 by 8.5, and I scored it and folded it at 3.5. And of course, I cut down my panel so it was 3.25 by 8.25. And then I'm just putting some double-sided adhesive tape on the back of this. I like this, especially with watercolor panels, because it allows me to really get it nice and flat. So if there's any warping, this is the way to go with your adhesive. Just put this double-sided adhesive tape all around and it will be perfect. So I just put that on the top, and I put the part that had most of the color toward the fold for some reason. I just liked the way that looked. And now I'm just going to kind of lay it out, and I cut a whole bunch of different things and shaded them in with my markers. Now you don't have to use markers. You could use colored pencils if you prefer using colored pencils, or you could blend some ink on. If you have the blender brushes, there's always one tiny one in there, and that would work beautifully for blending color right toward the center of the flower, or along the edges of the petals or something. You could do something like that too. It'd be really pretty. I just feel like that is a little detail that gives it more dimension. I'm giving these flowers a little dimension by just bending them over my fingers so they pop up a little bit. And these are called layering dies, so I decided I'm going to put 2 layers together. And I'm going to end up with a whole bunch of stuff left over, so I could make a few cards out of this, but I think I'll save them to do the pop-up box. I have yet to use that pop-up Slimline craft die to make the pop-up box, which is beautiful when it's completed. It came with so many word dies that's what I'm using that pop-up box die set for, because she's got, Sabrina, when she designed it, put so many beautiful word dies in there that you can combine in different ways to get a lot of different sentiments. And I absolutely love that die set for that reason. And I will make a pop-up die card with it because I think they're just so pretty. I just have been playing with other stuff on that die set. It's really, like, I really feel like with these die sets, I get such a bang for my buck. And die sets have gotten pricey. There's no question about it, but they're worth it because I use these over and over and over and in so many different ways. So I popped up those daisy pieces with a little bit of foam, and you can see the foam a little bit, but that's okay. I'll cover it up with the center. So I just put some glue on, like a dot of glue on the back of each leaf there. And you can see I'm using my Tombow liquid glue because I just opened a new one and it's working. My multi-matte media isn't working, and my Barely art glue is upstairs, and my art glitter glue is in storage in Florida. So I'm using this one. It's still one of my favorite go-to glues, although it does not dry matte. I do believe they have a matte version of it, but it does not dry matte. So I put 3 of those down, and I really like the way it looks. I love the meandering look of this. So that's one of the centers. Like, this die set has a die that cuts out a whole bunch of different center sizes and shapes, and that's the size and shape that you would put for a flower that you're looking at from the side. Now, I die cut those pieces out of craft cardstock, and then I used a dark brown to make sort of like a semicircle piece on there, and I'm using a lighter brown now just to blend that out and to give it a little dimension. I'm still letting some of that craft cardstock show, and I'm really liking the way this is looking. This is so pretty, that background. Now, of course, the Brusho, I just used the Prussian blue because I think it's pretty, and I wanted a blue background, but I'll tell you, you can make some pretty backgrounds mixing them all together. So here I've pulled out that Slimline box card die set. It's a pop-up box, and I'm picking the sentiment I want. And I'm going to do Dear Sister. I haven't used the Dears or the Sister yet. So there's only one person I can send this card to, and that will be my sister. She will now be expecting to get it. So I absolutely have to send this out, or she'll scold me. She'll leave me a comment and scold me if she doesn't get this soon. So I die cut it once. I'm keeping this card really simple, and I really love the way this is turning out. Like, that background just, you have no control over what that background's going to do, and I love that about watercoloring. The water does all the work, and look how pretty that is. It looks like I spent a lot of time watercoloring that. I spritzed it with water and shook on some powder, and the water did all the work spreading the color around. So I'm pulling out these clear jewel gems, which I really like. I haven't used these in a while, and I'm going to put these on the card so they kind of meander around like the leaves and the flowers do. So I want to make sure that I have an odd number. So when I get them kind of doing what I want, so your eye can kind of follow them around, going from flower to flower, I'm going to make sure I have an odd number, just because that's one of the design principles they're always talking about. Isn't that pretty? I love the dimension. I put 2 flowers on each one. I'm going to add a few little dots in white gel pen there. I always think that white gel pen brightens up wherever you put the dots. You could put some dots on the background, you could put some dots on the leaves, but it just brightens them up. And here are those 3 die sets I used: the Whimsical Layering Daisies, Assorted Leaves dies, and the Slimline Pop-Up Craft die. I'll put all the links below. I would love it if you left me a comment and told me what you think of the card, and give this video a thumbs up. And it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to my channel while you're here, and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.